he has a lot of growing up to do without Rocky.
You can tell something's off with Damien, like the character.
The training montage, the worst yet. Welcome to Not So Real.
Not so real.
My name is Jack.
My name's Lee.
We are a TV and film podcast, and we do everything right now. We do TV reviews, we do weird topics. I've got a really good topic that I want to talk about in a few episodes' time.
Okay.
Why don't we choose our mates like they do in Happy Feet? Think on it. Don't say anything, just think on it.
Okay.
This is how we plan.
I will definitely think on it.
It's a thought process that I've had.
Yeah. We love it. We love it.
I think it's sublime.
Just shove it at me, straight on the pod, and we'll just go from there. It's great.
Today we are talking about Creed 3 because we
are.
Last week went to a secret screening of the movie.
Secret?
Who would have thought?
I know. Who would have thought? Not me.
We've been pushed up the ranks over it.
Yeah.
We were sworn to secrecy. We arrived at a cinema that was just booked out for this one screening. There was one actual screen you could go to. We had to put our little phones in a little
little green
bag.
little bag.
Yeah, what's that about?
Just for none of that old privacy stuff. Like, so you don't pirate it. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were allowed to take photos in the cinema.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous.
You
said I didn't want to take a photo, and then they were like, "You get the fuck out." And
yeah, that's what I was worried about. I mean, I did take a few videos. Not of the film, putting out there.
Yeah, not of the film.
Warner Brothers, I know you invited us. We didn't do that. I didn't do that. I'm not going to leak it, okay? It's fine. I took a few photos of like the free popcorn that we had.
Yeah.
And the free bottles of water. And,
Which was
me and
so
you.
cool, by the way. We were very thankful for that. So, if you're listening...
Thank you, Warner Brothers.
Maybe just salty next time.
It
doesn't need to be salty and sweet.
That was weird. You put your hand and you didn't know what you were going to get. I don't like salted.
Do you not?
No, sweet's better. Do you like sweet?
I am all. I don't know what I was going to say. I'm all salted. Did you say you like salted?
I like sweet.
No, I'm a salt man.
Oh, mate, you're weird.
Sorry, that's why I was losing my mind then. I am a salt man.
Even when you go to cinema, like the actual cinemas, they just give you sweet now, not salt.
That's a joke.
I swear that's right.
Salted popcorn is 10 times better. Right, let's actually get to the
Creed 3
to the film.
Creed 3.
Basically, we're going to do the whole pod on popcorn.
Toffee popcorn's a no. Anyway, let's talk Creed 3.
Yeah, let's talk Creed. It was. I think it was amazing.
Oh my god,
yeah,
wasn't
it? It's a good film.
I was scared for it. So basically, we're going to spoil it potentially. So if you've not seen the film, there may be a spoiler drop to any moment throughout the course of the next podcast, right? So please go and see the film. I think now we just say the film's worth watching.
Yeah, I think so.
Put it out there.
Non-spoiler from here. It's worth watching. If you've seen the other two as well, it's worth the watch.
And if you liked 1 and 2, number 3, I would go. It's tying bottom 2. I wouldn't say it's the best Creed film. I wouldn't say it's the worst Creed film. Number 2 is definitely the best one. I think that's where it peaked because you had like the Drago and the series of the with the history. That's where that kind of peaked. Number 3 was a good number 3.
I think so as well. Like, I think 1 was definitely just a set-up story. It was setting it up. Like, I think then 2, you already had that progression made, so you could make a good story, which was 2 was incredible. And then obviously I think it was for 3. I think it was not as good as 2, but it was still good, and it was a nice little trilogy to set off the end of Creed. I think they did a very good job of it. So
this is a complete step away from Rocky, and it shows that now you don't need a legacy actor to make a boxing film good, because that was always a fear, wasn't it? Like Creed was only good because of Sylvester Stallone, because of Rocky, because of the history, and Rocky stepped away from the project, something that we're going to get to later, but it was a directorial debut for Michael B. Jordan. It was shot in 16:9, which is weird. So 16:9 is like your TV, whereas films are normally shot with the little black bars, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Top and bottom.
Yeah.
Whereas in the IMAXs now, it's like you're going and you're watching a TV the size of the entire UK. It is just, it's absolutely huge.
Massive.
And they don't do 16:9 a lot. So I thought it was weird to watch because it was a bit I thought there was too much to take in. We were quite close as well, weren't we? We had to do the whole
to be fair,
the screen.
I didn't mind where we were sitting, so when also because of the whole process of what it was, we went in there. We could literally sit where we wanted. So it was we went in there. They just went, look, take whatever seat you like. There's popcorn on there and a bottle of water, and then
I chose shit seats pretty much.
No, we didn't actually. I don't think we did.
We were kind of central. Bottom.
But if you were going on a cinema seating sort of situation, I think we were in maybe E or F.
Yeah,
which I don't think was bad.
Right. I prefer to be further back.
It's not A, but it's not like K.
Yeah, it isn't too bad. But let's get to the main villain in this.
Yes, Jonathan Majors.
Oh
my god.
This guy's come out of nowhere. He's done Ant-Man. He's done. He's in the Loki series as Kang. And now, I didn't recognise it was him until much later on watching the trailer. And I had a weird thing at the beginning of the film where I wanted to love him.
It kind of...
Do you know what I mean?
The way the story works is... Obviously, let's explain the story and then we can explain...
Right, okay.
How he fits into this. So...
Back in the day... Adonis Creed was in a group home, and in the first film you understand that he is in there because he's a kind of a bully, brash at school. He doesn't know how to control his anger, and then Apollo Creed's wife, who's not his actual mum, adopts him and raises him. What you don't know is what he gets up to before and during the group home. And when he first moves out of the group home, this guy called Damien Anderson is his best friend, a little bit older. He's also a boxer. Adonis follows him around as he starts to develop, make money, almost make a career. Then what happens is there's a bit of a brawling between Adonis as a kid and somebody who was in the group home that he was in that bullied him or didn't make life too easy for him, and Adonis is beating up the guy that treated him badly in the group home. More people come to support the group home guy, and then his friend Damien pulls out a gun. Adonis escapes the police and Damien goes into jail, and Damien is in jail for 18 years. And then he comes out, but he's done a favour to Adonis, right? Because otherwise you don't really quite know if Adonis would have been beaten up by the other people or if he would have been taken to the police and put into kid rehab. So it's almost like he's done him a favour by taking the gun out and stopping the violence. The police turn up, he runs, Adonis escapes, Damien goes into jail, and then 18 years later, finally, we don't know if that's his only offence, Damien arrives out of jail and goes back to meet Adonis.
Yes.
And that's where almost the narrative pretty much starts. And Adonis at this time in this film is retired from boxing and he's running a business as a boxing promoter for his own gym, for his own fighters. But Damien, when you first meet him, the story is actually quite warming.
Yeah, it's like he's actually the boxer, isn't it? Damien is the boxer. He's the Golden Glove champion of his area. I think was it Detroit?
It was Los Angeles, wasn't it?
I lied, sorry. And it's he was the Golden Glove sort of coming up youth, being the boxer, and obviously Adonis was helping him out, with his gloves and being the sort of aid to him. And then I think he's come out of prison and now he's asking Adonis to help him to get back into that dream that he still wanted 18 years ago.
Yeah. And you have this idea of if Damien hadn't have taken the gun out, then Adonis, in his mind, wouldn't be where he is because he would have been in jail. He wouldn't have been able to go and do the fighting that he's done. He wouldn't have been able to take his name because he would have been the one that got sentenced for, I guess, beating somebody up in public.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have been as big of a sentence in prison as an 18-year gun situation. And intent to kill, I guess, in America. I don't really know the law that side, so I'm not going to guess. But it wouldn't have stopped him from living his life. But Adonis actually believes that because of what Damien had done in the past, he owes all of his life to Damien. But
sorry to cut in. It's more of the blaming himself of that he put Damien there, it was his fault that this has all happened because if he didn't try and beat up this guy that beat him up in the home, right?
Then he wouldn't have sent his friend to prison.
His friend wouldn't have come out and pulled a gun on him.
No.
And then his life wouldn't have been sort of ruined in that way. And then so he blames himself, he feels bad for Damien, and then he ends up helping him out, doesn't he? Or tries to help him out, giving him a big shot of this fight, like this title fight.
But you kind of feel for Damien in a way, because he did... Yeah. At the start, you think, you know, he did actually, from being a good friend, put his life on hold for his mate.
Yeah.
And he didn't really look at the aspects that could have had by getting caught. So you think, you know what, yeah, like if that was my friend, I'd feel indebted for ages. I'd be like, this guy has protected me, I've escaped, I've left him.
Yeah.
He's now taking the full rap for that. Like, yeah, I can see where Adonis is thinking, God, I need to do everything that I can to help this guy. But then, obviously, watching, you're like, fuck him off.
Yeah, like
you can already tell
Jonathan Majors does such a good job, like we were just saying. Like he plays it so well that you like him when you first meet him, and you sort of feel sorry for him, but you feel something's off. Like when I was watching it, I was like, he's being nice, and it's like that's why Michael B. Jordan's like, you know, well, Adonis Creed is like sort of trying to help out Damien. But then you can tell something's off with Damien, like the character, and Jonathan Majors plays it absolutely fantastic. He smashed that role. Like,
and the writing was good as well, wasn't it? When they went to the CAF, there's a scene in the CAF where Damien's like, I'm not asking for money, I'm not asking for... He was like, I'm getting by myself, I don't need you. What I want is for you to help me have a chance, because back in the day I didn't get my chance because I stuck up for you. And you're like, you know what, that sounds fair. Yeah. That sounds fair. I'm sweet with that. If my mate did that, yeah, cool. I'd be like, okay, I actually owe you. But then the problems kind of start when he starts integrating Damien into his life.
Yes. I think it's more the fact of like the guilt was building up even more for Adonis of what's happening, and he wants to try and even more help him out because he's feeling so bad that he's been in prison for 18 years. Like... Obviously, we'll talk about the ending as well, which obviously that resolves some of that, where they have that chat. And I think that's the whole story of... the story of Creed 3 is Michael B. Jordan getting over this sort of feeling of, you know, feeling bad for his mate that's went into jail. And then you've got this whole thing where Jonathan Majors feels hurt because he's put his life on hold because his dream was the boxing, and now Adonis Creed has taken that from him, and it's like he's come back in to meet him and be friends with him, but actually it was all just a fucking ruse, just a ruse to hurt him.
I think the first time you feel him be dangerous is when he goes into the house, when he gets invited round for dinner, and you've got this their daughter Amara, who has got the hearing impairment, and you've got this guy that you don't really know, that you, as you said, you think he's a nice guy, but then he looks lovely, he's smiling, but also there's that other side of him that you just suspect is...
you feel the unsettlement. Like, he does such a good job of making it feel uneasy. Also, as well, this, like with, is it Amara? That's her name. Like, I think it was absolutely fantastic.
Yes,
like,
her acting.
Yeah, even just the whole lot of it, like, I think, incredible. Like,
what did you think was going to happen when they invited him into their house? Did you have a little like thought of this could go wrong, or he might bust out a bit?
No, I just felt like what he's been doing, he's just making Adonis feel guilty, and you could see it happening, but he's acting nice. Like, he actually resents him quite a bit for taking the title, for taking everything that he wanted, and then he's kind of using Adonis to get this opportunity, and he's like just doing it behind his back. And then that made it very clear when Adonis actually got him the opportunity to fight in a title match because things went wrong with one of the other opponents. Jonathan Majors won that. When he won that title, he was like, "Oh, I don't need you. I've done this because I've done this." Like, he basically used Creed to get where he wanted.
That was a big character reveal there.
Yeah,
massive character. So what happens is a fighter gets injured at a party, and they're looking for a replacement another opponent for the biggest fight of the year, and it's a very rash decision because you knew it was coming. It was quite predictable, that bit where this fighter gets injured, they've got nobody on the roster, which is a bit weird because he's got a whole fucking gym, and you're like, well, there's got to be somebody in there, like somebody.
But then again, he feels like he owes him something.
Yeah, I guess that as well. But it was very much like you've got a whole gym, and you're picking the guy that everyone is suspecting is a bit of a criminal.
But then again, they put out the thing where they gave Rocky a shot because he was like the underdog, and then look what happened with Rocky, and he's got like this massive career, and he was like, Adonis is going, oh, I can probably do that for Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, but I do feel that was a bit of a plot move.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Massive plot move.
Obviously.
There was definitely another fighter in all the gyms across of America. They were like, I've only got one guy that I can use. You're like, hold on a second.
It's definitely bullshit. But
100%.
It's just to get the story progressively forward, isn't it? So,
and then in the fight, you do see the real side of Jonathan Majors' character, Damien, where he starts to fight, and he starts to fight very dirty, and the cinematography to show that is incredible. So you can see all the detail of him not exactly punching in the right area, in the right vicinity of this person's face.
I think camera work for the fight scenes is really good. Like they've done a very good job of that. I think even with obviously this fight, and obviously there was a starting fight as well, and the ending fight too. Like with the three fights that were in it, I think they did very well with the camera work. I think the cinematography was just incredible. I think they've done a great job on that.
There is a huge lean-to as to why it's completely different from the other Creed films. Something that I'm going to touch upon in just a second, because there is a reason why it's shot slightly differently to all the other fights, and it's basically because of Michael B. Jordan. So he had a slight change in the creative direction. So after the fight, you do see this new character in Jonathan Majors, what you were talking about, the beach scene.
Yeah.
Where suddenly he isn't nice anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, I knew it!
Yeah.
I knew it!
Yeah, because like you felt that uneasiness, and you just like, by the time that he got there, you knew that he was just using him to try and get this sort of title, sort of sense that he's been dreaming about since he was young. Like, you could just tell, even with just like the fighting dirty and the chance that he got to fight, he was fighting like, like not what a boxer's supposed to do. It's supposed to be a sport, like it's supposed to be a sport, like a gentleman's sport. Follow the rules, and you win. But clearly, he was fighting dirty. You could see his intentions of what he was going to do once he won that, and then starts turning on Creed.
Yeah, and he starts almost showing that the respect you thought was respect was just playing.
Yeah, exactly.
You were like, I just need you to give me a fight. Then once I get a fight, you can fuck off.
Because then he sort of finds out that Drago actually got injured by someone that Jonathan Majors' character knew in prison. So he paid him to do that so then he could get that chance, and it's like a betrayal on Creed.
Yeah, which is a huge thing when you're talking about, the honesty part of Creed. Because everything in Creed is always about being yourself, being true to who you are, and doing things the correct way. But I think that's the Rocky effect.
Yeah, I think so.
Everything that Creed is, it's about, even with taking the name in the first one.
Yeah.
This theme that runs through them all is, always be true to who you are, even if you don't want to be. You have to get to a point where you're okay with the fact your name is Creed and your dad is Apollo Creed, and your mum isn't your mum that you now call mum. I was like, you have a step mum and she's looking after you. And I think he almost wants for Jonathan Majors' character to be as honest as that, to say like, I'm going to fight dirty till I get what I want, and I want you to know that. Instead, he was like, I just want to get back into it, and I want a shot at the belts.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's going to take some time. He's like, no, I don't think you hear me. I want a shot at the belts. And then he does everything behind his back to get that shot. And I think that's where the big betrayal comes in Creed's mind. He's sitting there and he's like, this guy, I've been nothing but honest with him.
But then I think as well, like, he thinks he's done him dirty too, so he's done him dirty back, and he's like...
Oh, do you think it's like a past thing?
Yeah, like, to do with, like, all of it, and I think he's sitting a bit like, oh, crap, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so he's in his own head, especially, like, he's thinking, I'm really trying to help out, like, Damien here, and everything that's happened, and he's ended up being in prison, and he sort of blames himself, and then, like... then he figures out that obviously he blames him too, and that they've got that whole conflict, and then that he's blaming him for stealing away his shot of the title and living his life, and that's why he was angry. And I think, I think they did very well to write that into the script, and they got incredible actors to act it out.
Yeah,
it very much portrayed itself on screen,
and that makes sense as well. I didn't think about that. It's all that idea of just betrayal on betrayal is. He probably blames Adonis for running away, and leaving him,
which he did say, anyway.
And then he blames him for living his life, taking his belts. And then I guess when he walks into the house for the first time, he's almost like rubbing it in. He's like, "Oh, come round to mine for dinner." And from Adonis's standpoint, it probably was he was trying to be nice and being like, come look at what I've managed to do. We had this massive dream when we were younger. Look, I've actually done it.
Yeah.
And then actually for Damien, he's like, "What a prick."
Yeah.
It's like, you're showing me all the things that I couldn't have because of what I did for you. So I get that. I didn't think about that. It's a very good point, Lee.
What can I say?
It's a very good point.
I've got an eagle eye.
So before we get to the reason why the boxing scenes, especially at the end, was very different.
Like, if I have to talk about the fight at the end,
we are going to get there.
Incredible.
One thing I want to just gloss over: the training montage, the worst yet.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you look at all the other... the biggest thing with a Rocky film, a Creed film, a boxing film is the training montage. Even in, like, the...
I don't think it was that bad. Like,
come on.
I do get what you're saying. I feel like they should have... Like, they could have made it, like... They could have upped it, like, a lot, because...
The Creed 2 one was amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, I feel like... They could have upped it from Creed 2. Like, I feel like... I don't think it was a bad training montage.
How?
But I know.
That's the quite... I was like you know when you get to that point in the film, you're like, how?
But you need something that's good like that. And they just needed to look at 2 and go, look, we need to do even more and get this. Because this is supposed to be, in my head, the last sort of Creed film. Yeah. He's retired now. He was retired in the last, like, at the start of this film.
Now he's retired.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he comes out of retirement to fight, obviously, Damien. And, obviously, that's what we're going to talk about. But... That's what I mean. Like, I feel like I should have made that a big part because, like you said, I think that's a big part in like the Rocky films and stuff like that and everything else. So, and the Creed films.
It's one of those things when you look at Creed 2's montage, right, and you can see it now. If you think about it, the bit in the desert where you've got the music in the background, that was such a good song. You've got the bit where he's being pushed, he falls over in front of the car. He's got the bit where he's learning to fight, like, toe to toe. You've got the bit where he's being hit with the ball while he's hanging from a swing.
Yeah.
You've got the bit where he's just getting punched by the people, and then he's got like the knuckles, and it's got the fire, the repetition. Mate, I'm in love with that scene. That whole sequence is fucking beautiful, and I absolutely love it. And then when you get to this one, I was waiting for it because I didn't know how many fights there were going to be in this film. It turns out there's just kind of, one big one at the end. There's lots of little ones, but this is the one big one. And I was like, right, now the money talks. How on earth are they going to do it better? Because I feel like everything was good in that film. The storyline was good. The motivation was good. The actual purpose in the film was amazing.
Yeah.
Because it felt like there was so much more at stake because he had his mum's health going on, relationship troubles, having a daughter, past problems, money, family, Bianca losing her hearing because she's back in it, she gets a really big role in it, and about how she's learning to deal with not having her dream come true, and this idea that only her husband out of every person in the actual film has managed to achieve something. I was like, everything is there. The training montage comes and I was like, oh, is that it? I feel let down by it.
That's probably like one thing I can say. Like, now you've like brought that to light to me, is the only thing I'd say that like can put down the film a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I feel like they should have just went even harder. Like, why not? It's a last Creed film. Why not do some fat off training montage?
Exactly.
Running through lava or something. I don't know.
The biggest thing they did is let him pull a plane, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the biggest, and even then it was just like
even then it
him crawling on the floor, and I was like, that looks easy.
Yeah, I can fucking do that. You know what I can do? I can pull a plane.
I can pull a plane. Get me a bigger one. Wouldn't take me long.
Like, give me the plane.
Oh, I didn't get that part. I was just a little bit.
I do get you.
I wasn't satisfied, I think, with that part. I think my love for Creed is coming out here, where that could have been amazing. It could have been phenomenal. What they actually did was undersell it a little bit. But also, it wasn't a big fight. That's my other thing in my head. When you look at the opponents,
yeah,
Tony Bellew in the first one.
Yeah.
You had the other belt holder in the first one. You had the Air Jordan sponsored guy in the second one, right at the beginning, to get his Mustang back. You had Drago at the end of number 2. In number 3, this guy is just, he's self-taught pretty much. So I feel like I got the same emotion because of the story, because of the narrative and what they mean to each other. Got that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like he was training hard enough to fight him. He's coming back from retirement. He's been told by so many people, your ribs are broken, you've got fractures in your hands, you've got a punch in the lung, concussions you have. He was like, you're an old fighter, you need to train hard. He didn't train hard.
The thing is, they're saying, oh, you're an old fighter, but Damien's older than him.
Yeah, but he's not been in that many fights. So he isn't as broken as bruised.
Very
Whereas
true,
you got to
very
think,
true.
like, Adonis is an old fighter because he's been hit a lot, whereas this guy's been in jail hitting a brick wall with his hand and no one's hitting him.
Yeah.
So there is a slight advantage in the fact that although Damien's been away for a long time, he's not been hit as much as Creed, and that's ultimately why the fight goes the way that it does.
Yes.
But let's get to the fight.
Yeah,
the last
let's talk.
fight.
Oh, yeah, incredible.
I think we both know what part we're going for.
Yeah, I know exactly what we're going to talk about.
The middle bit.
Yes, right. So the start of the fight, it was like, they're going at it, but what happened was, in the middle of the fight, all the crowd just went, and then it just went from them two fighting with each other, and the symbolic stuff around them that's in their own heads why they're fighting, and it was just incredible. Like, it was just incredible to see. Like, one of them wasn't it, where they were fighting with each other, everyone's gone, and it's all silent, and you're just hearing the punching, and it's like, and then another one is like where one of them punches him to like the other side of the ring, and it's like jail cell.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just powerful symbolism.
Didn't expect
it's
it.
Incredible. No, neither did I. And then that's what makes it even better.
It's like unprecedented in a boxing film is to make the ring and make the fight metaphorical.
Yeah.
And then the other one where Adonis hits Jonathan Myers, Damien, and he becomes a punching bag.
Majors. I think it's Jonathan Majors, isn't it?
I don't know. He hits Damien and he becomes a punching bag. And you're like, oh my God, that's, his training and his life. And you see that and you're like, they're fighting for each other's lives.
Yeah.
Quite literally. And I was like, it was so amazing, but also when you've got the Rocky films that are very much like in the ring fighting, don't really give a shit, then you've got these films where
it takes a different look at what boxing is. Like, I've been in a ring, I can tell you right now, it isn't just physical.
Banana.
Yeah, but like that's what.
Banana.
But that's what I'm saying to you. It isn't just. It isn't just all physical. Like the whole boxing sort of thing, and I think that very much put into that film that it isn't just them being brute strength and them training, doing whatever. It's a mental game too, and they were mentally in it together, struggling to fight each other and do this because they're so well connected together.
Yeah,
like you could see that. You could see the tension. You could see like their like chemistry between each other, from like even just liking each other, then to go to hating each other, was just so good. And then you could see that in the fight too. Like they've done such a good job of portraying that.
I think it's for also the old sofa judges. I do that. Looks really easy. You had to watch his Strictly. He's like, he's put his foot wrong. You're like, mate, you're not out there dancing, so chill out. When you've got people waxing. When you've got... That's a word, isn't it?
People waxing, baby.
When you've got people watching boxing, you can see how I got to that word,
I see
right?
now. Yeah.
When you got people...
You love a waxing. I love a bit of waxing.
What's even mean? I'm going waxing, I am.
Oh, do you know what? We're losing our minds. Just lost it.
So when you watch boxing, or as you could paraphrase it as...
Waxing.
Add that to the dictionary next year. People are like, oh, it looks easy, you just hit each other. And then I think that kind of puts into a very nice portrayal of how it's a mental game, how you're not fighting another human, you're fighting another, another person's narratives, another person's story, another person's ambition, another person's desire. And you're almost having to, you're fighting yourself out of a corner, but you're also fighting against somebody else's will. And whose will is stronger in that sense. And when I was watching it, I've also been in a ring.
Oi. Oh, bloody hell. It's just like I was looking at her like, yeah.
If you want to see, I went to the gym last night as well.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I go gym, of course. Yeah. I've been there in years, but I've been.
Oh, I'll go and see Jim. He's my therapist.
I'll
cut that bit out. Funny.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Anyway,
we keep that in. It'll be fun. We keep that in. It'll be fine. Going to Jim. I see. It's fucking Jim Bean.
Hey!
Sorry.
That was alcoholism. Anyway,
alcohol.
You need therapy for that. I know a Jim.
Oh dear.
It's really cut so much. Anyway, it really puts us into perspective of how that works, and it isn't just hitting, it's a tactics game. There's so much more to it.
I think Michael B. Jordan did a great job of portraying that. I think a lot of people probably wouldn't do that, and obviously he's put that into his film, and he's like said, do you know what, like this side of the mental side of boxing needs to be portrayed, and he's done that very well. He's done that very well in that fight.
So this whole stylized performance is actually because he loves that anime.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
I love that.
The whole thing about this physical representation of, you know, Creed's battle and Damien's battle is because he loves Dragon Ball Z.
Oh.
So he was sitting at home watching Dragon Ball Z, looking at some of the fight scenes, and he was like, "Oh, the slow-mo looks good there. I like the angle there. That's nice. Like, you know, make it all metaphorical."
Dragon Ball Z,
like, smash that in.
Dragon Ball Z is very like fast punching sort of thing. Like, so if he's taken that in and put that into Creed, you can see that with like the quick combos, and a lot of the combos they were doing against each other, like that obviously were choreographed. To do. Like, so you could see that, and obviously, like a lot of the quick sort of like them sort of like doing a sort of routine against each other sort of thing. I kind of get that. Now you've said it, it's sort of like, oh shit. Like,
I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, and I never knew that he was a huge fan of anime, so I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
But I mean, that does make sense. The way that it's been portrayed, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But the physical, now I guess the physical part of the anime, how he's made it into a real life thing, I guess it's a bit like Marmite. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was alright. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can take away from like anime or manga. Like, you can take away a lot of that and put it, like, especially fighting stuff and everything else. Like, Dragon Ball Z is a very big fighty show, you know. So he's obviously taken a lot of inspiration from that, and I think it worked on the screen.
I really liked it.
So,
it was new, it was different, and I think, as we were saying, it was a very predictable film. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
you did. Yeah, like, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed watching the film. It. The one thing I will say, I think it very much worked from taking away itself from Rocky. Like, I think that's what Michael B. Jordan wanted. I think, don't get me wrong, Creed 1 and Creed 2 are good films, but Rocky is heavily influenced in them two films. And I think this third film is about Adonis. Like, this is about him. You've got the backstory, you've got the mate that went in jail and he's trying to help him out, like he's doing that for him, and then obviously him opening up to Tessa Thompson, like his daughter. It's everything that is about Creed, Adonis Creed, him in that film. There's no like sort of in the second film, it's Drago's son that he's fighting, Rocky's like old nemesis, you know, or like Rocky in the first one, like coming and helping Creed fight and being asked to train him. You know what I mean? Like, it isn't anything to do with Rocky. He's left that, and it's like Creed film, and I think it worked well, and it was nice to see it just about Creed.
Yeah, so, and I guess there was room for character development without him there, because I think you've got Rocky as a father figure, but at some point, metaphorically, you got to move out. And you got to learn to manage your life in your own way. He still got his mum when he kind of physically moves out and starts a family. So there is that adulthood there. Obviously, we're not going to spoil the film, but he has to grow up even more throughout the film.
But we've basically spoiled the rest of the film.
Fine.
So she does pass away. I didn't mean it in like. I was
batting around that bit, but okay.
Did I say that in the wrong way?
You just said it with a bit of a smile. It was a bit weirded out by it.
Should we cut that?
Yeah.
So
he has a lot of growing up to do without Rocky. I think it's the biggest thing in this film.
Like the loss of his mother as well. I think that also makes him grow up too.
Yeah, and I guess with Rocky there, you've then still got a father figure. So he's almost out on a limb by himself. His problems can't be fixed by anybody else, and he's struggling with his relationship. He's got no one to turn to with how to actually do that, because he's like, everything's crashing down around me. I don't know what to do, and I'm not talking to my wife because I don't know what to do. And he's like, he's learning communication, business, and to fight, but for a purpose. I think this should be the end of Creed, but I have a really funny feeling it won't be.
I think they might do something with the daughter.
I don't want them to. Is that rude?
No, I completely agree with you. I think they will do it, but I think this was a nice end. You know, like they had Rocky, they've done that, and they brought him back when they've done it with a Creed. But then I feel like I don't want it to get too saturated. I think if you put all the films or whatever together, this would be a nice ending. You've got the end of this. Creed is done. Like, if they start making more films, what are they going to do it about? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, are they just going to extra saturate the fact of, like, maybe going to Creed's daughter? Or do they go to a completely different character that they're going to make up or something, and it's not going to get enough, like, sort of
traction?
Yeah, traction.
There's no path there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it would be a bad move if they did. But if they do, they do. So, but I think this was on its own by itself, and with the two films all together, great film.
Yeah, amazing. So good. I'd 100% recommend it.
So, if we were going to give this a rating out of a not so real rating, what are we saying?
A not so real rating out of 10.
Yeah, no, it's a great film. It's a 10. Like
higher than Avatar.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Avatar was just too long. It's a long ass film. Like, this was a nice 2 hours. I think it's definitely a good watch. I think I'd say maybe a 9.5, but just because of the predictability.
But you can't change that.
No, you can't. And that's something that's why it only gets a 0.5 off.
Okay.
But other than that, I think it was good.
Definite watch.
It was good acting, good directing, good writing. I think everyone done their job.
I think we've summed it up. Thank you so much for listening to Not So Real. We'll be back next week, and we're going to talk about The Last of Us.
Is it The Last of Us?
The Last of Us.
Is it The Last of Us?
And we're going to be scanning through episodes
5, 6, 7. Oh yeah!
We'll see you next week.
See you later. Roll the credits.